Hi, this is Sina, and for this video, I want to go over this Medium article I found about student life versus software development life. This article really related to me because, well, I'm a software development student myself, and um, I always think about the transition between student life and actually going to work, and I've had some exposure to that in co-ops, but yeah, I was looking at these 7 steps, or not steps, but like 7 things about working in tech that this person who written the article wish they knew. Um, and yeah, I can actually share my screen right now. So this is the article I'm looking at. Um, it's from a computer science student in a university somewhere. I don't know the university, but um, so like there's some things I can relate to here. I'm more in like a smaller college, and not that it's that different, but uh, I'm gonna show you like some steps that I really related to. So just a disclaimer, I obviously don't own this article. This was made by Kevin Zhao, if that's how you say his name, and made in 2018. And I'm going to link the article, the Medium article, in the description below. So let's get started. All right. So I'm actually going to start with part two, or like, yeah, the second part of this article. Um, so it says here, expert in a language is not the same as expert in software engineering. And yeah, like I really relate to this, especially earlier on when I first started it. Like for tech students or computer science students, it's like you hear about these languages, like these programming languages like Java, C++, Python, and you're like, I need to learn this. If I learn this, I can get a fucking job. But no, it's not really that straightforward. um, yeah, obviously, like there's more to it than just the programming language, because the language itself is just a tool that you use, and coding is just one part of building software, right? Um, but yeah, like it even says here, in fact, much of the hard work in software engineering is from the design, not the implementation. Um, so software engineers follow a cycle in developing software. Like the actual term is called SDLC, the Systems Development Life Cycle, and a lot more emphasis like these days it's more back and forth. Like it's not so synchronous, but the software development lifecycle always starts with the planning, the requirements, the design before you actually implement your code. And you need to focus on those areas too, just as much as coding. And yeah, like I guess I'm fortunate to have learned that um, from school still, but like the co ops really helped me understand this. But, anyways, that's the second part. The third part I wanted to go over that I kind of related to is not everything you learn in the CS program will get used, or whatever tech program you're in. Yo, this is this is totally true. I So some of the courses that I was learning in my college, I gotta say, like for example, I was learning about Linux. Okay, now Linux is it's an operating system different from Windows and Mac OS, like the ones you hear about. Um, and Linux, I'd say like the tools in Linux weren't as useful as knowing that it was an option. Like I can't see myself using a platform like Linux in the industry when in future courses we're going over more Microsoft technology, for example. Like yeah, not everything they're going to teach you is going to be used as you go through school. And I'm kind of telling this to myself too. Like as I go through and finish up school, you're going to specialize more in one area than another. And I find, yeah, um, but yeah, this is true. This is totally true. I think every student, I think even in non-tech majors, like you don't really use everything they teach you, you know? Like it's some of them are just placeholders. It's part of it. Part of it is just bad design on the program coordinator's part, like the person who designs the structure of the program that you're in. But yeah, that's unfortunate. Like I wish colleges can be a bit more specific. Boot camps are. Coding boot camps are, well, like I don't know how they're better because I haven't really tried a coding boot camp, but they don't have some of the jargon that college programs do have. Okay, so the fourth one I wanted to go over here is software engineering is a team sport. Um, I think so. In my mind, like early on in school, it was more about individually getting your work done. I mean, yeah, like this isn't referring to being a comp sci student though. It's more about like software engineering later on. Um, and yeah, I feel like this is partly true for sure. And like part of it is because I don't really have too much experience in the industry and yeah, I do hear a lot that like working with other people and other developers is usually better because like they can give you feedback and some people have more skills in one area than another. And I'm kind of experiencing that now with my capstone project I'm doing. And yeah, it's also nice to be part of a team, like working with people, uh, other students and other developers. You don't really get that opportunity that much, especially during the pandemic. Um, but yeah, that's the fourth thing I wanted to go over. It is a sort of like a team sport, though. Not really into sports, so I don't know. Not that. Um, I'd say it's like 70% true, you know? But sometimes you do need to like set up your own stuff, like when you have your own idea or like your side projects is what I mean. Majority of the side projects that you do, they're going to be done by yourself. There's just not that much opportunity to work with others. That school and work help provide that for you sometimes. But like besides that, you kind of have to go out of your way to find people who you really click with. And even then it's hard because like you need people who know their shit. um Same with me. I need to know my shit to be able to work with someone who knows their shit. uh Anyways, this is just a rant sort of, but like yeah, that's part 4. 70% agree with that. So, part 6 of this article stood out to me as well, and it's that software requirements are often less clear than school assignments. Yo, in school, they just give it to you step by step sometimes. The teachers, I mean, yeah, the teachers they want you to, pass. Like sometimes they give you more open-ended projects, but like majority of the time it is going to be this step-by-step thing that it's not going to be as clear when you're actually building a project from scratch. And I've definitely noticed that even with side projects or ideas that I come up with, the requirements early on really matter, and it's what's going to shape your entire application. And they're not going to be clear unless like you really sit down and focus on them. And like there's this requirements framework that developers use that's called like FURPS, FURPS, and then there's like a plus for like extra. But like it's boiled down to functional requirements and non-functional requirements. And I'm glad I learned this in school, but like sometimes they don't focus on that aspect of software development until later on in school, or even until the like you become a developer. And I can't imagine how it was 10 years ago, but I think they're learning. I think because like my time in school, I feel like I've learned some pretty good skills that at least gets me doing okay in terms of like internship applications. But yeah, I do agree that requirements are less clear, totally. And it does require like some sort of creative thinking to it as well, because you have to list out these requirements, and some of the requirements are going to be pretty stupid. It's not going to fit every person, like, or like it's not going to match your user as much as you think, or if it's a technical requirement, it's not going to match up with what you know versus what you need or need to learn. But anyways, that's the sixth requirement, and finally, I wanted to go over the seventh one before I close off this vid. Um, it's preparing for software engineering interviews. It can be misleading, and yeah, I agree with that in the sense of like there's a pressure to like memorize your data structures and algorithms, memorize these more like fundamental concepts in computer science. Like for example, there's this simple what can I use? Okay, for example, there's like the binary tree structure, all right? Like if someone uh it used to be like a job in or sorry, it used to be that a what's okay, the word is in my head. A job interviewer is what I was going to say. But an employer, okay? It used to be that an employer would ask these kinds of questions, like what's a binary tree? How do you implement that in C++ plus plus or some shit like that? And they still do, like for larger companies like RBC. I think I've only had that kind of question asked like once or twice when searching for internships, at least. And but nowadays it's like I feel like they've gotten a little bit more lenient, or like they rely more on testing your creativity. That's like one of the top qualities they say employers are looking for is your creativity, and I found that really interesting. I mean, I don't know, like I'm kind of happy that's how it is, or that's how we're kind of going, because technical knowledge is only one part of it. You need to also know how to think like your user, or know how to feel empathy for your user, because you're building this software for them. It's got to be good for them. um, Pretty basic stuff I'm saying right now, but yeah, like um, in the interview questions you'd find online, they're not going to be like that. And also, one other thing is they're starting to do like, I guess, yeah, they're starting to do live coding. I'll admit, like I've only done one live coding interview, and that I bombed that. I unfortunately, like it was like spontaneous. They didn't warn me before that there was a live coding session, so like I had to scramble at the last minute to get something together. And yeah, it can be really daunting if you don't practice beforehand, like a coding interview. But um, now that I think about it more, I do like that aspect, because like they actually see how you work through a problem. That's a really good way to evaluate your problem solving skills. Um, but anyways, like they're trying different stuff than what they used to. Oh shit. Okay. Yeah, they're trying different stuff than what they used to. they used to do. And pretty much, yeah, let's read this final step of this article that Zhao wrote. So they grew up used to a schedule of attending classes, that starting work was a serious change of habit, and at school, your goal is to get good at grades, right? But and your goal is to like get a job at the end of the day, or get a company who wants to hire you, uh, get a livable wage, you know. Um, and the focus though isn't on you though when you're out of the classroom, is what it says here. Uh, because you're gonna be in a team. It's gonna be a lot more team based in development environment, like what in a company. And I don't think I had a co-op where you don't work in a team. So like the huge transition that I get from this article and that I think I understand is students are a lot more individual based. They do more individual based kind of work. And it's not really encouraged to like work as a team in group projects until later on in your semesters. But you really don't get that experience until you actually get that first junior programmer position or internship. And yeah, like I find that transition's always going to be hard for me, until I graduate, pretty much, because you're so used to one schedule, one way of doing things. And then um, yeah, that's just part of learning, I guess. Is there's always, or part of being a developer is just you're always learning new things, and you're not going to know everything, really. That's what I got from this article, though. Anyways, this is just a short vid going over my thoughts on that article. So again, that article was in medium.com, written by Kevin Zhao in 2018. Interesting read. I'm going to link it in the description below. Please, if you like listening to me rant about this article, feel free to give a like and subscribe. Um, yeah, I'm still trying out this YouTube thing, seeing how it goes. But yep, that's my thoughts on this, and it's been fun. Take care, everyone.